Hello, Klemen here, and welcome in another in-depth video class where you will see and learn how to scale your info business or your e-learning business to multiple 8 figures and beyond using a powerful and unique scaling framework that I call the 3-jet revenue engine. Please buckle up, please get excited, because what you're getting in this video is a distilled version, an executive summary of all the lessons and insights and learnings and best practices and not so good practices, as well as all the mistakes we've done at Mindvalley to scale Mindvalley from roughly $20 million in annual sales to over $100 million in annual sales for various info products and e-learning programs such as courses, paid memberships, certifications, and paid communities. Buckle up, this will be a game changer, I can promise you. Now, this web class is perfect for you if you are an info business owner, an e-learning business owner, or a knowledge entrepreneur or edupreneur, and you are selling various forms or types of info products and e-learning programs such as, again, courses, workshops, certifications, memberships, paid communities, ebooks, and the price range of these info products ranges from anywhere from low ticket, such as a $27 ebook, and up to a high ticket offer such as a group coaching program or a certification for $5,000, $10,000 or even more. Now, before we go into the juiciest part of this video, allow me to briefly introduce myself so that you know how I learned and earned all this knowledge and experience that I'm sharing here with you, that you are getting and downloading here for free in this video. My name is Klemen Struc. Please call me Clem. Most people who know me as a former chief marketing officer and head of growth of Mindvalley, a fascinating online company, and today the world's leading online education company for everything personal growth and personal transformation. I highly recommend everything from Mindvalley, and especially my dear friend Vishen Lakiani, who is just extraordinary on so many levels. At the time at Mindvalley, my work has generated over $300 million in annual sales for, again, info products and e-learning programs such as courses, subscriptions, memberships, and so forth. I've managed and allocated over $100 million in advertising budget on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. I scaled also one info or e-learning company profitably and also sold it then for a life-changing sum. And this company was called Solvana.com, and it was acquired later on by Mindvalley. And what I'm most proud of is that I helped hundreds of experts like you actually grow their online reach and online audience, their business, their impact, also a sense of freedom and abundance through the things that I'm sharing in videos like this one. And hopefully in this video, I will inspire you to see your growth of your, not just your business and your revenue, but also positive social impact on humanity through a new lens of what I call the 3-jet revenue engine. Now, let's go straight into the juiciest part, okay? So the 3-jet revenue engine essentially are 3, as you can see here, that we will go deep into this web class, are 3 specific types of revenue that you need to put in place and have up and running in order to create growth for your business, in order to create profitable growth, meaning that you have healthy profit margins, and also very important that you have some level of stability and predictability in your revenue and in your business, because as your business grows and expands, so does your fixed costs, typically related to human costs, and the more you grow, the more your business needs to be stable. So let's go, what are these 3 engines? So these 3 engines are, the first engine is the evergreen engine. This engine, as you will soon see now, is designed to automatically acquire new customers for you, or automated customer acquisition, as you will see in just a bit. The second revenue engine, equally important, is the promo engine or a launch engine. This engine is responsible, and its role of this engine is to generate profitability for your business, as you will soon see. And then the third engine is the recurring revenue engine. This engine brings stability and also predictability to your business, to your revenue, to your profit, and also how you grow and scale. So let's go a little bit deeper into each one of these engines, okay? Now, as I mentioned, the evergreen engine is the engine of growth. This primary function of this engine is automated customer acquisition. And when I say automated, I mean in a completely automated way, that there are no sales calls required, there are no live webinars required, there's no manual or human labor required to attract, generate leads, and then actually close customers and deliver the program. That is what I mean, automated customer acquisition. So the secondary function of this particular engine is to grow your audience, two types of your audience. It's to grow your rented audience. These are your Instagram followers, YouTube followers, basically your social media, essentially an audience that you are quite literally renting from other platforms like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn and so forth. And to grow your owned audience. This audience is primarily your email list and your community, some form of a community. And the secondary, another objective of your, there's a typo here, Another secondary function here of this engine is to liquidate and cover as fast as much as possible of your marketing costs. This will typically be paid advertising costs and also various costs, financial expenses related to content creation and all other expenses that are involved into you actually running all these evergreen engines, funnels, and generating traffic and acquiring new customers. So that's the evergreen engine, okay? Now the second engine is the engine of promos or launches. The purpose and the primary function of this particular engine is what I call costless cash generation or costless cash injections into your business. So the purpose of this engine is to stay top of the mind of your audience, of your earned audience, owned audience, and rented audience. This also to nurture the relationship with all the people that you have on social media as well as on your email list and in your community. This engine is also responsible for launching new programs and offers to your existing audience, such as email list, community, social media followers. Also to relaunch existing programs and offers, and also very important, convert what we call unconverted leads who came into your business through your evergreen engine, convert all these people into your first-time customers, okay? So that's the second engine. So now we covered evergreen engine, which is the engine of growth. Then we have the promos, which is the engine of profit or profitability. And then the third and final engine is the engine of recurring revenue. This engine is designed to bring more stability and predictability to your revenue, to your business growth. So as I mentioned, the primary function of this particular engine is just stability and predictability. And the secondary basically function of this particular engine is primarily deepen the relationship with your customers. When people are on some form of a subscription-based recurring billing, these are the most valuable, the most important customers that you can have, because these people, these amazing human beings, have committed to an ongoing relationship and billing with you for a long term, and that's why it makes it so special, okay? Of course, here it will also say increase the customer lifetime value, introduce new programs and so forth, but these are three revenue engines, okay? So to summarize, evergreen engine is designed to create growth. It's designed to reach new people, generate leads, and acquire new customers. Then we have promos. Promos is where you actually generate profit. This is where you monetize your existing audiences that you've acquired and attracted with this first engine here. And then the third one is the recurring revenue engine that brings stability, okay? Now, ideal scenario, and this is, if you remember one thing from this web class, okay, from this video, remember this, is that ideal scenario that you want to, in a way, chase or reach is that where you have all these three engines up and running, to some degree, good enough, they don't have to run perfectly, but you have all these three engines up and running, and each engine is generating you at least 25% of the total revenue that you bring in, okay? So let that sink in, okay? So this is an example of the most perfect distribution of these three revenue engines, how they contribute to your total revenue. Now, it will never be exactly like this, 33%, 0.3, but ideally you wanna run for this, that at each, you wanna aim for as equal and balanced distribution of these three engines, how they contribute to your total revenue, like you see here, at least 25%. That's the holy grail. Once you meet these two criteria, you know you are primed not only for 8 figures and multiple 8 figures, but you are setting your business up for a 9-figure business. This is where you cross $100 million in annual sales. I know this might sound over the top, too much for you right now, but just know that to get from 6 figures where you are today, or for even 7 figures, these engines, having these engines up and running at least and contributing each one of them at least 25% is of utmost important and quintessential importance, okay? And through this video, I'll explain why this is so important, okay? And again, you will connect so many dots. Now, where you do not want to be and where you are today probably, and that's okay if you are today, is any of these scenarios that you can see here, okay? And these scenarios here is, for example, where you only have one engine really like working for you, perhaps just the evergreen. You're posting on social media, you're running some ads, people come in, they buy, and that's it. And then you basically don't have any promos, for example, or recurring revenue, okay? So if you reach this far with any of these scenarios, I really salute to you. I really congratulate to you. Congrats, amazing. However, I can tell you that it will be almost impossible, if not impossible, to get your business to multiple 8 figures. So that means $10 million in annual sales and more. So roughly 1 million a month without these 3 engines, all of these 3 engines in place, okay? Another example is when you have, for example, just 2 of these engines up and running, but the one is either very weak or just not existing, right? So these are all scenarios that you don't want to chase. This is the holy grail here, okay? And now we will go deeper and I'll explain to you why this is the case, okay? Let's start with the engine number 1, evergreen engine, okay? Now, this engine is it's called engine of growth for a reason, because this engine its sole purpose is actually, to summarize, is to acquire new customers automatically 24/7 on a complete autopilot without you or your team having to do sales calls, without you or your team having to manually do some things like follow-ups or do live webinars or live Zoom calls or live workshops. That's not the purpose of Evergreen Engine, is to bring fully automated customer acquisition. Now, if I zoom this in a little bit, now the best way, before I go into this chart, you will see, because each of these charts has, each of these engines has its own dynamic, how the revenue moves over time, and it has its own pros, it has its own cons. But when you combine all these three engines and they are running the way I've explained here, then the downside of each engine is covered by the superpower of one of the other two engines, right? So that's the power of this whole scaling framework. So anyways, let's go first to the Evergreen. I will zoom this in a little bit, okay? Now, the purpose of this engine is to create growth. Primary function, automated customer acquisition. If I give analogy to a three-jet airplane that you've seen here, okay? So you can see this airplane that has three engines. So the analogy, the closest analogy is just get your airplane up and flying and then put it on autopilot, okay? That's the most important part here, is autopilot. So here, you are basically automatically and in a perpetual way, 24/7, acquiring, getting into your ecosystem new leads and new customers. You are growing your rented audience, such as Instagram following, YouTube followers, and so forth. And then you also grow your own audience, such as your email list and your community. As I mentioned, objective is to just generate leads, get new customers through the door of your business, okay? The primary key, the primary KPIs, the most important KPIs, the primary one here that measure the success and the health of this particular engine is just, this is a factor, return on advertising spend, because the most important inbound traffic, and by the way, the traffic source, I'm jumping back and forth, that you use at this engine is primarily paid inbound. So that means ads on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and then organic inbound, hence, or AKA social media. So think of Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, search engine optimization. Basically inbound, you're putting out there certain forms of content like paid ads or any other form of content, videos, articles, voice, and attracting, basically reaching and attracting new customers into your ecosystem, okay? So the most important metric that measures the health of your Evergreen engine is just, it's a ratio between how much you invest either in ads or content creation and how much you got back within certain time frame. I will put here at least 30-day period, yeah? So, or this might be return on investment, depending how you measure it, or if you're running paid ads, this would be ROAS, return on advertising spend. So for example, if you invest $1,000 a day in ads, for example, and you get back $1,500 back, so that means that you're running ads with a ROAS of 1.5x, which basically means that for every dollar that you invest, you get back $1.5 back within certain time frame, let's say a 30-day period, or it might be a 14-day period, okay? And then the secondary metric, KPI, that is also quite determining is how many new customers are acquiring. How many new customers are you getting through the door of your business, okay? Now, each of these engines, as you will see, has its own superpower, but it also has its own kryptonite, its own downside, and it goes as the same for this Evergreen engine. The superpower of this engine, once you have it up and running, it is fully automated, hands-free, once you set things up, and it is very, very scalable because it is automated. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you run paid ads to a low-ticket offer, such as a $37 workshop that has a bunch of upsells, let's say, or order bumps. You can actually just not only run this on autopilot, but once you have numbers working in your favor, you have a healthy ROAS or return on advertising spend, you can quite literally scale and double this entire revenue and this entire funnel just by in a few mouse clicks by increasing the budget in your, let's say, Facebook Ads Manager. That's one example of how scalable this is. You don't need, for example, extra people. You don't need to hire more people. You don't need to set up more automations, typically all the things that stale or block or hinder, let's say, scalability, okay? So that's the power of the Evergreen engine. The downside of this engine is this engine of all engines typically is the most costly one, is the costliest, it's most expensive, especially if you're running paid ads, right? So if you're running paid ads, let's say on any advertising platform, again, the key players are Meta, where you run ads on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and then also you have Google, YouTube ads, Google search ads, Google display. Now ChatGPT is coming out, right? It's like every day this platform is charging your payment card and you see cash going out of your bank account. This is the most expensive, essentially, revenue engine of all, okay? And again, the whole point is that you have this engine working good enough with a healthy ROAS, return on advertising spent. Now, let's go a little bit deeper into, okay, what are the best offers for this particular engine? Info products, e-learning programs. What is the best funnel typically that you will see? And what are the best traffic sources? Okay, so at this stage, remember the point and the objective of this particular engine, Evergreen Engine, is to acquire new customers, okay? Get new customers through the door of your business, okay? So as you can imagine, you will not lead here with a high ticket offer because that's not the wisest, smartest way to attract and acquire first-time customers. Typically, you will have here a low ticket offer. So this will be, or more of them, this will be, imagine a workshop, a $27 workshop, or an ebook, or a web class that will have typically, let's say, 2 order bumps on the checkout page, and then perhaps a few one-click upsells and delayed upsells. You've seen this online multiple times. You've purchased many low ticket offers very likely in the past, so you know how this works. Now, the second type of offer that's best for this particular engine is any form of a mid-ticket offer. So that will be, by mid-ticket, I mean anything that's priced between $97, $100 to $1,000, somewhere like that. So the best example to imagine is, imagine a 4-week online course that you would sell for, let's say, $300, $297. That's a prime example, okay? These are the best offers. Now, what are the best funnels, actually, marketing or customer acquisition funnels that you would use? Well, there are several of them depending on what offer you use, but one of them is, for example, you get traffic, let's say paid ads or social media content, you get first people into a free community, and then from there, you invite them to buy a low ticket or a mid ticket offer. This is actually currently one of the most powerful ways to actually not just get your Evergreen Engine up and running, but also just to scale your business. Super powerful with school communities and other community platforms that are just popping up. Really, really powerful. And it connects also to another engine there, both engines as well. Then another traffic source, when you have traffic, you take people straight to the sales page or a video sales letter page, and you immediately offer them a low ticket offer. You've seen this online also, very likely as you're scrolling through, when you are browsing primarily on Instagram or any YouTube, and you see an ad, you click, you come to a sales page, and they sell some kind of a low ticket, $17 or $27 or $37 info product or a digital product. Yeah, so that's another great way of another great high performing funnel. Then another one is where you get traffic to a long form content such as a webinar, a masterclass, a web class, perhaps even just a video sales letter, but at least let's say 30 minutes of a long form juicy content, and then from there you actually sell a mid-ticket offer such as a $300 online course or even a $500, but something in the mid-ticket range. Yeah. And what are the best traffic sources plugged to this here? Well, the most powerful traffic sources that you want to work on and grow and scale and invest in is paid inbound. So think of Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google search ads, now ChatGPT ads, and organic inbound. So think of organic social media content. The primary engine is YouTube. Then you have also YouTube Shorts. Then you have Instagram Reels. You have Instagram stories and carousels are more actually for the promo engine. Then you have LinkedIn and then a bunch of others, right? So that's the Evergreen Engine, okay? So this is, I won't say the most important engine, but it's the first engine that you want to have up and running, at least to some degree, because this engine is attracting new customers. It is expanding your reach. It is actually creating growth for your business. That's how you create growth, by reaching new people and attracting and acquiring new customers, okay? So that's the first engine. Now let's go to the second engine, which is the promos engine, okay? Now, before I actually go into the promos engine, let me also briefly explain the dynamics of these charts here. So this, ideally, of course, you want to see this revenue engine and each of these 3 engines growing over time, right? But the dynamic of this particular engine here, let me bring my pen here, is that it will actually fluctuate. This is the second most volatile revenue engine immediately after promos, where you have spikes of revenue. You find great ways of, let's say, running ads, and you find a few viral, let's say, videos. You published a few viral shorts, for example, on Instagram, on YouTube. You see a big spike, then something happens with your ads or your social media. Then you have a drop. Then you flatline the revenue a little bit because you continue to gradually kind of scale down the budget a little bit. Then you create new ads, for example, or ad creatives. Then you start scaling up a little bit. Then you plateau a little bit. Then it goes down because something breaks in your funnel, right? That's typically a dynamic of an evergreen engine. However, what is the most important part is that over time, as you look back, is that you have a consistent growth. That is what really matters, right? There will be some fluctuation and volatility on this journey, but that's the nature of the evergreen engine. Now let's go into the promos engine. So this engine, to refresh your mind, is designed for profitability. This engine's primary function and role is to maximize the profitability by monetizing your own audience and your rented audience, okay? So, and the primary function here is just costless cash generation or costless cash injections, if you will. Okay, so the three-jet airplane analogy. If the evergreen engine, the first engine that we've covered, is designed to help you get your airplane take off and start flying on autopilot, this engine is designed to refuel your airplane so that it can continue flying. Okay, so this engine is also very important. Essentially, what this engine really does, what you're doing as a business owner, you are running multi-day promos or launches to your email list and your community, and also on your social media, your rented audience. And here is where you would typically promote a medium ticket or high ticket offer. Yeah, so again, this engine is profit maximizer. The reason it's costless revenue, even though you need to invest time because there's some work involved, but generally you would not spend a lot of money on paid advertising here. You might spend a few, but the total ad spend compared to the revenue that you get here will never exceed 20%. Again, feel free to comment, ask me about this, about anything that you're learning here. But essentially, you're not relying on paid ads here. You are solely marketing to your existing email list and community that you've built with your evergreen engine. Remember, this engine's role is to build your email list, is to attract customers, is to grow your rented and your own audience. And some of the people that come through this engine will actually buy, a certain percentage of people will buy, but a large percentage of people and leads that you generate here will actually not buy immediately. And that's okay. And this is where the second engine comes in, okay? The second engine is, as I mentioned, is designed to monetize your rented and your own audience, and also to increase the total lifetime value of your leads or customers, essentially. Okay, now if we go into the if I go back to the let's say to my drawer here, so to draw this up, so imagine a typical, let me go here and let's go here. So a typical, let's say I'll just let's say create a simple calendar. Okay, please forgive my artistic expression, but one way of seeing your let's say here we have 4. One way of seeing your promos engine is through the lens of a calendar. So imagine this is a calendar, this is month 1, and this is week 1 and week 2 and week 3 and week 4, and then here you have month number 2 and month number 3, and these are all weeks, right? So one thing to imagine this is that ideally at least once a month you do a multi-day promo to your email list and your community. If you have one, you should have one, by the way, and also all your rented audience on social media, to actually promote typically a medium ticket or high ticket offer. That's essentially one way of seeing this, and you want to do this repeatedly, strategically, and consistently, at least once a month. Okay, now the revenue dynamics of how the revenue will go is, this is the spikiest revenue of all, because you have, like, imagine if you're doing these promos that I've shown you here. Let's say if you do a promo once a month at Mind Valley, we had like bi-weekly launches, meaning that we would actually do, if I go back here, we would actually do a launch. We would do a launch every second week, essentially. So two launches every month, where each launch would last anywhere from 7 days to 14 days and more. Okay, this revenue here, as I mentioned, is the spikiest. This one is the most unpredictable. Okay, even though through a longer period of time, then you can start planning more, and a certain predictability emerges. But when you just look at on a monthly basis, this one has the most unpredictable spikes. One launch, like you generate revenue, then it kind of dies off a little bit. Then the next month or the next period, you have another launch, but this time, oh my universe, you hit the nail, like really like the amazing offer, amazing messaging, positioning, marketing, bam, you break a record, right? And then now suddenly you're super excited, then you do another promo next month or next period, and then things don't go as planned as you would want. And this happens, by the way. This happens. I can tell you, this is just a natural, almost like a natural thing with the promo engine when you're doing launches and promotions to your email list and community. Then you do another launch, and then again, oh my universe, we did great again, we reached our goals. Then you do another launch, oh my universe, this one didn't go so well because of different reasons, because of different season of the year, different month. Like, I mean, you would be surprised. And then once you kind of learn, then you have another record-breaking launch, right? But essentially, what you want to do with this engine, you want to see this upward trend line, okay? Upward trend line, because and why, once you have both evergreen engine and promos engine running, is naturally evergreen engine will be growing your email list, will be naturally growing your audience, will be growing your rented and your own audience, and every next launch, ideally, or every quarter, should actually bring in more cash through these launches. That's the natural order, what you should be seeing. Now again, each individual launch you might see spikes, but over time, all this launch revenue or promo revenue should grow over time. Also, every year, if all these engines are running, every year your launch revenue should bring more and more and more cash, simply because your audience is growing, the audience that you've built and grown with the Evergreen engine. Okay. Now, the most important KPIs here in the promo engine, and by the way, this engine is best both for launching brand new programs and e-learning offers. So if you want to launch a new course, this is prime example of a promo engine number 2. Or if you want to do re-promote again an existing offer that you already have, you would do that through the promo engine. We've done this at Mind Valley. Every time we've created a brand new course, we would actually activate a promo engine and we would launch it to our email list, to our audience, to our community, to our social media. That's one example. And the other one is, for example, every January, typically, we would launch our best-selling course or an offer. Typically that would be related to manifesting or abundance, because historically at the start of a year people are ready to set goals and start fresh, and this would typically be the bestseller as well. And we would relaunch an existing course. Sometimes we would even relaunch an existing course that we already have in the library every 6 months. That was a golden rule. So every 6 months we can do a relaunch of an existing program. Okay, now primary KPIs here are cash collected. That's a primary KPI. The most important thing that matters here is how much cash you collect. Now, very important disclaimer. Obviously, it matters. Customer satisfaction matters. That students are happy. Transformations matter. All the things that like positive social impact matters. All of this, of course, is important. In this video, we are looking your growth engine just purely from the revenue perspective. We are not going deep into how to create a top-rated info product that delights customers and wows customers. It is quite, I would say it's self-explanatory that if you're watching this, you are driven and committed to create the best possible online programs, e-learning programs, and info products. So it goes without saying, okay? Obviously, then some people say, but we need to measure also the NPS score and the ratings. And yes, you're right. But remember, we are talking about the revenue engine here, 3 revenue engines and the scaling framework. It goes without saying that it is very difficult to scale and grow any business if products are not up to certain quality, or if experiences or customer satisfaction is not up to a certain standard. So I really want to emphasize this. So just a side note, okay? So primary KPI of the promo engine, just cash collected. And then the secondary one that you also want to measure eventually is what is your average customer lifetime value. So this engine is designed also to increase over time the average value of the leads that you generate, and also the customers that you bring in through the Evergreen engine, okay? Now let's look at what are some of the pros and cons, the superpowers and the kryptonite of this particular engine. So the most important superpower is this engine is what I call costless. This means that you do not need to run any paid advertising. You don't need to invest anything into paid ads. You can, and ideally you should, a little bit, just to retarget primarily and remarket to your existing email list and your social media followers. But generally, as I mentioned, the total ad spend compared to the total revenue and cash that you collect from this engine, from one launch, for example, should typically and will typically never exceed 20%. Let me give you an example. If you just do a launch or a promo, and this promo brings in let's say $100,000, you would typically never spend more than let's say $20,000 on ads if you are just retargeting primarily your warm audiences, again, your email list, your community members, just the warmest audience, okay? Typically, it would be even lower, like 10 to 15%, right? Because remember, this engine is not designed to attract and acquire new customers. It is designed to, in a way, monetize your existing audiences, and that's the whole point of this engine, is to infuse more profitability into your business, okay? So, as I mentioned, no or very little ad marketing and marketing costs, because you're essentially marketing and sending emails out, essentially. And if you already have a funnel, or most of it already, it also doesn't require a lot of time investment, okay? Now, the biggest downside, the biggest kryptonite of this particular engine, it's quite manual. So if you go into a proper launch or proper multi-day sequence, then you would need to, that spans, let's say, across 5 or 7 days, then you really need to plan, you need to write and plan 5 emails or 3 emails or 7 emails, then a bunch of social media posts like Instagram Reels, and then TikToks and YouTube Shorts, and then blog posts, and like it goes quite a lot of planning goes into this, and it's quite manual typically, and a lot of management required. And the second kind of downside of this engine, as I mentioned briefly, is unpredictable, right? Even though on a yearly basis or a quarterly basis, you can kind of estimate how much you will bring in through this particular engine, but each individual launch typically is quite unpredictable, because things change, time changes, seasons change, and perhaps you might change some of the things that on the Evergreen engine, you start attracting in a different type of people, for example, and anyways, it's the most unpredictable, okay? Now, what are the best offers for this particular engine. As I mentioned, low ticket here is not, one I want to print, is not, you don't want to promote a $27 program to your warm audience who already knows you, who already trusts you to some degree. Here you want to promote a mid-ticket offer, something between $100 and $1,000. So imagine a $500 6-week online program, for example. This program course can actually be delivered as a cohort-based program with weekly delivery. So automation here is not so essential that the course consumption needs to be done on a complete autopilot. That's not the point here, because it can as well be drip feed delivery with the live Zoom calls, for example, which is, by the way, the best way to launch a brand new course. So if you want to launch a brand new course, check out my other resource on the topic of how to actually launch a brand new course, the right way, the smart way, a profitable way. And here's a hint: do it with a live webinar, with a live masterclass or a web class or a webinar that sells a mid-ticket online course, and then you deliver your online course through live Zoom sessions on a weekly delivery with drip feed delivery. More info about, you will find the link somewhere here or in my community, okay? And then the second type of offer that you would typically promote here is any form of a high-ticket offer, anything above $1,000, for example. Now this might be, and again, it might be a 6-week certification. It might even be here. It might be a membership-based program or a subscription-based program. Okay. Then the funnel. What type of a funnel you would actually use here? So traffic here, remember, would be primarily email list and your community, and let's say various Instagram carousels, Instagram stories, basically warm audience. You would take people to a sales page directly and buy a mid-ticket offer. So imagine a $200, some kind of a workshop or a course. Another example is you drive traffic to a long-form content such as a webinar. You first promote a free webinar that people need to sign up for, or a workshop, or a masterclass, or a class, and then from there you give value in advance, and then you actually offer them a medium ticket offer or a high ticket offer as well. And then here you could, even if you are in a high ticket space, you could also drive traffic to a sales call, meaning that you qualify people book a one-on-one sales call with your sales reps, and then you get them into a high ticket offer. So these are all feasible, possible funnels. And then the traffic source, as I mentioned here, is primarily your email list, your community, and I'll put here also let's say your social audience. And again, this might be Instagram, YouTube, and so forth. Primarily Instagram carousels and Instagram stories. Yes. Alrighty. So we covered now the second engine, the promo engine, right? So let's quickly recap. Evergreen engine, if I go here, it's designed to acquire new customers on complete autopilot and also delight your customers on a complete autopilot. This engine creates growth for your business. It helps you reach more people, grow your email list, grow your community, grow your social media following, grow your revenue as well, and most importantly, attract new customers into your ecosystem. The second one is promos. This is where you primarily market to your existing audiences that you've acquired and attracted with Evergreen engine, and here you would typically do promotions, multi-day promotions or launches to your email list and community, offering or selling high ticket or medium ticket offers. Now let's go to the third engine, and this engine is the engine of recurring revenue. As you can see here, this engine is the engine of stability. This engine brings more predictability into your revenue and also profit. Very important. The reason why stability becomes more and more important as you grow and scale, as I mentioned, is because once you have a few people on the team, let's say, also your expenses are not that big, right? But the more your team grows and expands, also, this is just a prime example, the more also your people costs will grow and expand on your balance sheet, on your P&L, for example, right? So also your lifestyle might change, right? So the more you grow, essentially, the more stability you want to bring into your business and also predictability into your business. And the best ultimate engine for this is any form of a subscription-based recurring revenue where people buy either a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription or a quarterly subscription, and they are getting built on a recurring ongoing basis until they cancel. Okay, that's the recurring revenue. Now as I mentioned, here's a three-jet airplane analogy, how to see this. This engine is designed to get your airplane, or to keep your airplane to stay in the air, okay, and continue flying. Now here's the most important part, especially when you're having troubles with any of the two engines, okay? And I can promise you, troubles do happens, malfunctions will happen with the other two engines. Evergreen engine, something breaks, Meta suspends your advertising account, I don't know, somebody bans, perhaps Instagram changes their ranking algorithm, and suddenly your organic traffic goes down, perhaps your paid traffic goes down. That's just one example of what could go wrong with your Evergreen engine, okay? Another example is with your promos, and we've experienced this at Mindvalley. When we migrated to another emailing marketing software, I think at that time we went from an Ontraport, I don't think it even exists today, Ontraport, we migrated to, I think it was called Exact Target. This one probably still exists. But long story short, because of this migration to a brand new emailing platform, and we moved an email list of more than 1 million people, by the way, with a lot of sub-segments and audiences inside this email list and tags. Basically, our promo engine was hit big time. It dropped by like more than 50%, and that made the entire company at that time burning cash, unprofitable, like losing money. And that was an alarm at that time. I remember this so vividly. And at that time, we did not have yet a solid recurring revenue engine up and running. We had actually subscription offers, but they were really never prioritized in a way that it needs to bring in at least 25% of the total revenue. Later on, we actually switched the whole thing. Now Mindvalley probably generates over at least half of the revenue is actually already recurring revenue, and that's the holy grail of everything. Okay, that's why you need this recurring revenue, because it's the most predictable. Once you have, let's say, 1,000 people on a monthly recurring billing or a yearly one, you can know with high level of confidence for 6 to 12 months in advance what your cash flow will be from this particular revenue engine. It's that powerful. I have so many other stories. I'll tell you one. When I took over Solvana, like 1 year into taking over Solvana, then I looked at where the revenue is coming, and I saw, like, for that particular month, the number one chunk of revenue was like, I don't know, $30,000 that month came from, this is when I took over, came in from a source that was literally from like 4 years or 3 to 4 years launch that happened 3 to 4 years before when we launched Solvana, when Solvana was launched. And in between, Solvana as a company, as a model of content changed so many times, yet still roughly 3 or 4 years after that, people were still being built and of course consuming and accessing content. That's the power. The power of recurring engine is that you don't, if you have, let's say, imagine 1,000 subscribers, each paying you $100 a month or $20 a month, okay? You don't have to actually bring in any new customers to generate revenue, even if you stop all the marketing, okay? You see how excited I am about this, okay? Even if you stop all marketing, you stop all evergreen engines, you stop all promos, you go to meditate on a mountain with your entire team for 3 months, okay? Assuming that you continue delivering some form of value to your membership or your paid community, you will still be generating revenue month after month. And that's the power of this recurring engine. This one out of all 3 engines is the least volatile. It's the least spiky. So if the promos it's like this, it's almost like a heartbeat of a very anxious person. This one is the opposite. This one is the most stable revenue, because it just typically, if you have a healthy retention rate or a churn rate, and you are bringing in new members consistently, then this revenue will just grow and stack over time consistently, and that's the power. Okay, so that's why this engine is designed to really additionally amplify the stability of your business. Here, what is this? Well, it's a recurring revenue from subscription offers. This might be a paid membership, paid community, even software, any other tools, but essentially recurring billing. Objective, stability, predictability, and also a very powerful revenue mode that protects your business, your lifestyle as well, your sanity, also your brain cells, your stress and mental health from troubles with other 2 engines, and also, by the way, drastically increases your company valuation. Here's another golden nugget that I learned firsthand, okay? One of the reasons why I exited, one of the reasons basically why I received a life-changing sum when I sold Solvana is also because a big chunk of Solvana's revenue was engine number 3, recurring revenue, okay? Very important. Typically, recurring revenue is worth up to 6 times more than transactional revenue. Some context, transactional revenue is a revenue where customer buys something once and they don't commit to an ongoing billing. So example is, let's say they buy an online course for $200 and that's it. They paid $200, there's no recurring billing, okay? But if somebody buys, let's say, subscribes to a subscription, let's say, I'll give you the same example, let's say $200 a month. This revenue is up to, if not 10 times more valuable than actually just a transactional one-time purchase. And you can imagine why this is the case, because it's more predictable, okay? Very important. If you ever want to, or if you will ever want to sell your company because of different reasons, and this happens, I can promise you, you want to start something fresh, you want to take a 5-year sabbatical, you just want to cash out and go all in on your charity vision, whatever that is, having a recurring revenue in your business drastically increases the valuation of your company, of your business, and also increases the paycheck that you receive when you exit or sell a share or the whole or a part of your company. Very, very, very important. Now, the most important KPI here in this engine is the retention rate. So this retention rate is actually measures how many members you are actually retaining. Now, there's another very popular term called churn rate, which essentially is inversion. It's the opposite of retention. If retention means how many members you are retaining month after month, then the churn rate means how many members you are losing. Yeah, both of them basically measure the same thing, just from a different perspective. And it is the single most important metric in any recurring based revenue or product, because once you have a healthy retention, you can then grow that's the most important foundation. You can grow and scale your recurring revenue. If you don't have a healthy retention rate, then it's quite impossible to grow a recurring revenue, because no matter how many new members you are acquiring and bringing in, it's a leaky bucket, if you imagine. So you imagine a leaky bucket. No matter how much water you pour in, if the hole at the bottom of the bucket is too big, the water is just leaking, then it's just a never ending, it's a hamster wheel, right? But if you have a bucket that has it will have a hole. By the way, every subscription has some retention, but when it's a healthy retention, so let's say a small hole at the bottom of your bucket and you're pouring in new members, then your membership will just grow, and recurring revenue. And then the secondary KPI here is monthly recurring revenue, okay? Now, the best superpower of this engine, as I mentioned, is predictability. And as I mentioned, the super side effect is it increases your company valuation or your business valuation drastically, okay? The downside of this engine of all engines is the hardest to grow. And also the reason why it's the hardest to grow is because when people need to commit to an ongoing billing, this just creates more friction. People need to, it takes more consideration for your future members to consider, do I really need this? How much this will cost me every month? Can I cancel it? It just creates more friction, typically. It's just harder to sell, long story short, because just like in any relationship, it's much harder to just come into somebody's life. Oh, let's be friends for another 1 year. Like, well, let's go step by step. First, I need to know you a little bit before we are friends, right? So it's the hardest to grow. And also ongoing value creation. This one also requires way more energy, typically goes into retention strategies, which is creating value, ensuring that members are aware of the value they're getting, creating content, updating the software, whatever that is, just ongoing. It's just maintenance essentially, right? But again, this can easily be offset. What is typically the best offer for this? Well, this can range from a low ticket offer, something like $27 a month to $97 a month, to a mid ticket offer, something more, let's say $100 to $1,000, to a high ticket coaching program as well. This can be a wide range. A sweet spot would typically be somewhere here. These are easiest to grow. Obviously, the lower the price, the easiest to sell it. But then it's also lower revenue per each member. The funnel type, depending on which engine, we'll cover that. But essentially, you want to have both evergreen and promos plugged into your recurring revenue. So multiple traffic sources, you will find it here. Multiple funnel types, so you can go from traffic, you can bring them into a low ticket offer, then immediately offer a recurring revenue offer as a one-click upsell. That's one example. And then, or as a delayed upsell. And then you have, like, basically all roads need to lead essentially into your recurring revenue engine. All traffic sources are here valid: paid inbound, organic inbound, email list, and community, right? Now, if I go to, so let's summarize, okay? We've covered the evergreen engine. Number one is the engine that creates growth. Engine number two is the engine of promos or launches. This one maximizes the profitability and just the financial health of your entire business. And the third one is the engine of recurring revenue, which brings in stability. And ideally, once you have all these three running, then you really create an amazing solid foundation to not only scale beyond 7 figures to 8 figures, but also to 9 figures and beyond as well. And that's how your revenue will look like once you have all these three engines producing value for your business. And of course, I want to emphasize, for your customers as well, for your audience. Of course, you want to delight them, wow them with amazing value. It goes without saying, okay? Now, here's how another way of seeing this. Let me zoom this in a little bit, okay? So ideally, and here's another golden nugget, okay? I hope you're getting tons of value from this, okay? Is that all funnels, literally all your marketing, all your sales, ideally should lead to engine number 3. All roads need to lead to Rome, right? All roads lead to Rome. All funnels, all marketing needs to bring people into your recurring revenue engine number 3. And now you know why this is the case, okay? It's the most valuable revenue for so many different reasons, okay? And one way of seeing this entire 3-jet revenue engine is as a flywheel, okay? So here you have inbound traffic. So this will primarily be paid ads and organic content. Now, very important, there are other forms of traffic such as affiliates, partnerships, but these two ones, inbound traffic, paid ads, or organic content, give you the highest level of control and predictability. That's why I recommend you focus on these ones first before you venture into other forms of traffic that's way more unpredictable. Uh, you use inbound traffic to actually run and get people into your evergreen engine first. Yeah. So again, this could be low ticket offers, it could be mid ticket offers. Here you will generate the leads, you will grow the audience. Okay, your rented audience on social media, your following will grow, your email list will grow, your community will grow, your customer base will grow. Then you go actually to promos. That is where you market and promote new offers or existing offers to your email list and community, to these people that you've attracted and acquired here. And then this gives you more profit that lets you reinvest into inbound traffic. That it's a flywheel. It's a flywheel. Now, the most important part of this flywheel is that, as I mentioned, is that all funnels and all engines need to lead to engine number 3, is that in evergreen, ideally, the moment they buy or join or come to this funnel, you need to bring people into closer towards your recurring revenue engine number 3. So this is almost, imagine a heart chakra, or the center of the universe, okay, or the great sun of your business, around which different planets spin around. Okay, same with promos. Ideally, when you do a promo, the simplest way, you just promote your subscription or a membership, right? That's the best way to hit both objectives. You do a promo, you collect cash, you generate cash, and at the same time you're promoting your recurring revenue offer, which grows your monthly recurring revenue and recurring engine, right? A flywheel that ideally over time will just grow and expand. So imagine this is growth and this is expansion. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. Now, here are your next steps. I know this was a very lengthy, quite insightful, juicy web class. Your next step is calculate your 3-jet scorecard. Okay, so you want to know where you are today. Now, after watching this, you already probably know where your bottlenecks are, but essentially here, what you want to do is just click this link here, and you will also find this entire Canva doc, by the way, that I'm sharing right now. You will find it in my Mission Accelerator community. You will find the link somewhere here below. Just click this. It's a custom GPT. Go in, and my digital version of me will just guide you through a simple questionnaire. You will answer a few simple questions, and you will immediately not only get your score, but you will get more insights into what are your weakest engines right now, and what are your biggest bottlenecks, and what are the first things that you need to work on to actually prepare the foundations and start growing and scaling your business. Okay, and I also invite you to join my private tribe, Mission Accelerator, where you can get so much more help, support, guidance, and resources, amazing resources, all designed to help you scale your info and e-learning business to multiple 8 figures and beyond. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, or let me know here inside our Mission Accelerator community. I hope you enjoyed it. May the force be with you, and I look forward to seeing you in another resource. All the best.